Why did the ride line go halfway across his blade? Are you a sharpener? Have you had this happen? Let's talk about this. I'm Bonnie Megowan, and I sharpen shears, and I teach sharpening, and I'm still learning, as all of us are. One of our sharpeners has my equipment, but I've never met him. We just did it through the internet, through Google Meet. He sent me an email that he had a problem with this shear here. He said he was handed these today, and they would not cut. He'd never sharpened them before. This one was one of those he couldn't tell if it was strictly beveled or not. And he disassembled it. It appeared to be hollow ground, but the ride line was almost like hairline thin, all the way through the pivot J area. My research reported that yes, it should be hollow grind. He went on the Jaguar website and looked it up. And it said on their website, with hollow grinding and honing of both blades for easy slicing. When I touched it to the whetstone, the area within the first 7 teeth of the pivot point developed a ride line of nearly half the blade. Ugly. This started me to question if these are truly hollow grind. So let's look at those. Let's talk about hollow grind and find out what maybe he should have done on those shears. This is the Jaguar Pre-Style. This is the one he was sharpening. This one is the gold line, and this one is the silver line. Cheaper, more expensive yet. If you look in the light, you can see a little bit of a hollow reflection. You see that? Just slightly, but you can see it is dished out in here. Now, all hollows are not equal. You see it's dished out a little bit more here in the pivot area, a little less out here. This might be one you can see a little bit better. See, this is Japanese style shear. And I don't know why they call it hollow instead of concave when the outside surface is called convex. But when that hollow is put in, it's on some type of a wheel. It goes from the back to the tip, but it's at an angle. Sometimes the shears are a small wheel that creates that hollow, so the hollow will be deeper. Sometimes it'll be a larger wheel, but it's going in, so it's going to be more shallow. On both of these, whether it's a deep hollow or a shallow hollow, it goes at an angle. That angle means it's going to be flat here between the two sides, and it's going to have a twist so that the edge is actually higher than the back of the blade. A little kind of hard to wrap your head around it. So when it's done with a larger wheel, you're going to get almost flat and a very, very, very thin hairline, ride line, like he said. The size of the wheel and the angle that it goes across affects the way the shear cuts and affects how you do the ride line. So let me show you what would happen if you did a ride line on this shear, because this is going to be similar to what he was working on there. See how they look alike as compared to something with a deep hollow. And let me show you, not all thinning shears have that light hollow. Here's like our cheapest Bonika shear, our Jazzy. And it's not that this is better, it's just different. You see how it has a deeper hollow, where this looks flat. You're just going to turn it back and forth to the light to see that. But you can see the reflection that this has like a ditch or something. So I'm going to do a quick ride line with both of these shears. And I'm going to do it on something pretty coarse. This is the 1000 grit side of our Kitayama stone. And I don't think I even need to do the red marker on it. I think you're going to be able to see this. So this one I have to put my pressure over the pivot, light out here. And this is a much rougher Rideline than I normally would do. And you can see that Rideline where it comes here. Do you want me to bring him back here? Oh, gee. Let's stop. So it's 3 hours later. I should know better than try to do a video on Mondays. Oh, gee. Clipper blade, sharpen. So where I left off, sure it's like seconds for you, it's 3 hours for me. I was doing a Rideline on this shear, rough, more than what I would normally do, for you to see what the width is on a shear that has a normal hollow. So let's come down. So now I'm going to do a Rideline on this shear so we can compare how it looks. Wet it. Same pressure that I did on this one. Light out here, pressure here. Is that about the same number of stripes? So you can see this Rideline is a little bit wider. So how would I sharpen these types of shears that are the German type? Sharpen the one blade. If it's a bevel, sharpen as a bevel. If it's convex, sharpen as a convex. But don't go to big extents of taking it apart and doing the Rideline. You can take it apart if you like. You run the risk of not being able to get that screw back in or getting that screw to hold. What you can do, especially, see, this has got like plastic in the back here that can break off. This one's got some crazy, you know, little types of screws. You could use either the flat side of your arc hone to do the inside on that. You could use maybe like a little ceramic, very smooth ceramic stone. Just don't go crazy working a Rideline on these. As you see, they do have maybe a little teeny line right along the edge, but it's not like what you're going to see on your other shears. When I was in Germany, what did they have me do? We had an abrasive that was on a hard rubber block, and we just did a few strokes. It was a very mild abrasive. Few strokes. We didn't use a waterstone on these types of shears, and just did a few strokes just sort of to clean up that inside edge, and that was it on the inside. We tested them on hair. We actually had a big chunk of hair and we cut through it and pulled out. That's probably, you know, something like that's the easiest thing to do. If you can just not take them apart, even smooth nail buffer on the inside may be your trick. When your hair shear has a hollow grind to it, it may or may not be a deep enough hollow grind to want to use your waterstone on that shear. So the descriptions can be a little deceiving sometimes. I want to use the word deceiving, but they may not give you as a sharpener the true picture you need to know to sharpen the shears. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, or if you have any comments about this, or if you've dealt with this and have a better way of doing it. I'm always learning this. All of us should be. And I'm hoping this will be helpful to you. That was an awful video. This was not one of my best. It wasn't one of my best.